let's go ahead and get started. Sometimes you have to start till everybody joins anyway. So, Gio, the way I don't know how many of these you've come to, but it would be good if you just take a few minutes and introduce yourself to everybody, just so they know who you are and begin to feel more comfortable asking questions, particularly about this training module if they have them and want to reach out. And then I don't know, it would be good as you begin the training just to assess how many people have even had a look at what's been there so far, so that you kind of know what the expectations are. But hopefully you can just kind of run through the material quickly and kind of outline, you know, what is there, what the expected learning is, and then be available for questions. All right?
All right. Okay, so my name is Giovanni Romero, and I'm from Bolivia. Besides that, I'm a master student for Dr. Nelson, and I try to do this 301 Introduction to Web Programming. As easy as it is, it has a lot of content. Actually, it has over 35 pages because I just try to put most of it. We are not gonna maybe try to read most of it. We're just gonna probably just try to jump to the code pens so we can see actually how it works. And then I will probably leave the reading for you so we can actually cover this in the hour that we have. And I just want to know, like, as Dr. Nelson said, like, if somebody ever have experience with web programming, somebody ever did a web page before.
So, sorry, Gio, was the question who has experience with programming?
Yeah, with programming or like with HTML, for example, and just CSS. Just this part, if somebody ever like tried to use HTML or CSS or use it before.
I've only used it in the 170 class where we have just a mini assignment where we have to do a little bit. So that's my only experience. But I'd imagine the rest of the people have also done that class, I think.
Gio, in that class, we really only talk about HTML. So CSS is probably foreign unless they've had other web programming. Has anybody done anything with CSS? Or even know what it stands for without Googling? So that probably kind of tells you about what you feel.
Yep. Okay. That's good. Then, so I'm just gonna share my screen then, so we can start with the module. Okay. So pretty much what is HTML is not, I will not say it's a programming language, just to make it simple. It's just like a markup language. So it's pretty much a way in which you can structure the web page. So it's break into sections. And for that, there is not a lot of concept behind HTML. It's not like JavaScript that it's the next module, which is a little bit more complex. And you actually need to know a little bit of programming and functions, variables. But with HTML, it's pretty much tags for different things. There is tags for images, there is tags for titles, there is tags for hyperlinks. So it's pretty much that. It's just a bunch of tags. And we're not talking yet about CSS, but just to make it easy, CSS is for styling the HTML. So pretty much how I like to put it, HTML, it's like the bones, and CSS is pretty much like the skin, you know, it gives a style to it. And then JavaScript that we're not talking here, it will be the muscle. So it gives functionality. And HTML and CSS just give the structure and the style, but doesn't give any functionality by itself. Okay, so this is the first code pen, and I have it here. So if you want, you can follow along with me, but if not, it's totally fine. So code pen, I don't know if you, in the other trainings, you see the code pen or not. I just want to know if it's the first time that you're seeing the code pen.
I think it's the first time. I don't think we used it in any of the other modules.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gio, is the code pen specific to the web programming? I mean, they have used some other similar kinds of things where they have Python, interactive code pens, if you will, right? But I think when you're talking about code pen, it's more specific to the HTML web programming, right?
Yep. That's why if you can see here, you have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So you have the three components. And actually it's pretty cool because it's just like a sandbox or like a playground in which you can put a bunch of things just for testing. And if you put code pen and then you enter to that link, then you will see a bunch of people that does like crazy code pens, like animation, things like that. You can also use it for this just to show people how it works. So that's how we're gonna use it. And for example, you can see here, I don't have any CSS or any JavaScript. So that's why my page looks white and it just really simple. And for this, there is some concepts that I wanna make you understand really easy. It's like with this, you can see here element content. This H1 is just a tag, which means title, image header one. That's why it's bigger. If you put H2 is header two and it's gonna be a little bit smaller. And then you can see that there is a tag P. The tag P means paragraph. So it gives this look. And you can see if I change here and put this, then it's gonna update and it's gonna show this because it's the tag that it belongs. And I don't know, you can see it's pretty intuitive. And then other thing is like all the tags so far has things inside. As you can see, the P tags have my cat is and also have other tags inside. But there is empty tags. What's an empty tag? It's a tag that doesn't have nothing inside. For example, you see here, this is the image tag, and the image tag has properties inside of the tag, but doesn't have anything between the tags. As you can see here, the P doesn't have any property, but the image has a lot of properties for the height, for the width. If I change this, I don't know, 50, and then we can see it grow a little bit, right? But I don't have anything between the image tags. And also, I don't have a close tag for the image, as you can see.
Sorry, Gio, one question.
Yep.
In the H1, do you see that EM? What does it mean?
Oh, yeah. That's for the nesting part. Sorry, I forgot to do that. The nesting, what's nesting? Nesting means that you can put a tag inside another tag. And you see here, the EM stands for bold. You can see here, if I delete this,
Okay, thanks.
it's just about the style. Did you see? And now if I put the EM, it makes it more italic. So a little bit diagonal. And yeah, and then we have Boolean attributes. A Boolean attribute is, well, here I put attributes, right? And the attributes are these things that I explained with the image, are the things inside the tag. This is the hyperlink, by the way. If you put a ref and then you put the website and then you click on it, you will go, well, it doesn't let me here, but in a normal web page, you will have the chance. The code pen doesn't let you interact in this way. Okay, and now we have the Boolean attributes. What's the Boolean attribute? Is this. The tag input is to create an input text box. That's why I put type text. And then I can receive input, but you can see the first one, as you can see here, is disabled. So I cannot enter any input. But you can see here, I didn't put disable, so I can type. So that's how the Boolean attributes works in order to enable or disable some features of the tag. Yep, and that's the quick kind of like wrapping the thing around like the HTML concept. I don't know if there's any questions about this code pen.
So Gio, what would a Boolean attribute be used for? Like that wouldn't be like a search bar or something, would it?
Yeah, for example, you there is like Boolean attributes in many tags. Right now, I just show the example in the input tag. But for example, just put an example in which we will use this. Let's say you have you have your website, and then if you like toggle something, you disable the user to put input. Then you will change the Boolean attribute to be disabled, so the user cannot put any input. And then if the user untoggle that, then it can put input. I don't know. I don't know if.
What other tags could you use a Boolean for? That might help. Like, can you just put a Boolean in the link tag, for example?
You cannot put a Boolean attribute in the link one, in the A one. So far, I know it's in the input. I don't know other tags that you can use it, but I know they are. But are mainly for the input. I think when you are trying to do, well, you can use it in the input, but also you can change the type. Maybe you can put like a radio box instead of the text, and you can disable that. But so far, I just know about the input. I don't know about other ones. Okay, and I don't know if there is any other questions. Oh, okay. Let's follow then. So I just pretty much explained what I talked to you guys here about the opening tag, closing tag, the content, and the element. Also about nesting the elements. So pretty much we just grab all of these. Okay, and here I give a little bit of the concept of how does the basic structure of the HTML document works. And this is the basic structure of the HTML. Like this is how most of the time looks like. So we have a closing, opening tag for HTML and a closing tag, as you can see. Then in the head, usually most of the time, the things that go inside the head are the elements that you cannot see on the page. Well, you can see on the page, but not directly. For example, the title of the page is my test page, but it will be here. It will be on the tag. It will be the title for this part. I don't know how you say this in English. I forgot it. For these ones, that's what's on the title, and then the meta charset UTF-8. That's the one that decides the language of the web page. So if you change that, let's say to Chinese, this part, you just look meta charset for Chinese, and then you just change this part, then it will change the language for Chinese. So that's pretty much how the head works. It has also more things. In the head, you can also put, if you want your web application to be compliant with many devices. So it's more responsive when you change the sizes, for example. Then we have the body part, and the body, as it implies, is where all the content of the web page goes. Pretty simple. So it just goes like you can put titles, images. It's pretty much all the things that the user is gonna look when it sees the web page. I don't know if there is any question about the basic structure of the HTML.
Gio,
Yep.
you might just bring up a web page and do view source just to kind of show a couple of examples. Just any, go to BYU or go to
Okay.
Amazon or yeah.
Let's open this one that I already have, which has a lot of images. So if you put this in any browser, inspect element, and then you put here we can see that the basic structure, as I say, like it has the HTML here, it has the head tag, so it has a bunch of things on the head. And then we can see that the HTML tag opens here and defines the language. And then we can see the, well, what's div? I didn't explain what's a div container. I was gonna explain later, but a div is pretty much a tag that implies, it just means a container. So it's a container tag. So in that div, you can put any other tags inside and it will work as a container for your tags and you can show. And then if I look here, I can inspect and say like, oh, this div, this container has this picture. I just need to open it. So we can see this div has two divs inside. So this container has two containers inside of it. And this container has also another container. And then, yeah, this one also has another container. Okay, and this one has an article tag, which is just letters. And as you can see, like pretty much in HTML, you can put things inside of things. It's like that Russian dolls that you see on the television. That's pretty much how HTML is structured.
Thanks. So there's a lot more complications there. I mean,
Yeah.
he's giving you a simple basic structure, but you can still see that any web page is built up of those kinds of components.
Yep. Okay, then coming back to the page, well, yeah, here I just explain a little bit. Oh, yeah, and here I just have the code pen for that, so you can see the. Oh, yeah. Before doing that, you know, I have been talking about tags, but there is a bunch of tags. Like there is an infinity of tags. Just saying that I don't know all of them, and usually when you start programming, you will not know all of them, but you just can Google them and learn. That's why I try to make it easy for you guys. That's why I collect all the tags for you. So every time you have doubts, you can just go into this code pen, and then you will see all the possible tags that you can have in, yeah, in HTML. For example, as I explained before, these are the headings, the headers. So this H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. This is a button, and then you can see here the code. This is other button. It has explanations on them, as you can see. And if you want to load some CSS, you can put here load CSS, so it looks nicer for you. And then you can have the list of the code here, how you do this. This is for the address, for example. For example, I didn't know there was an address tag, neither an article tag. But I hope that maybe when you look into this, you will see all the possibilities that you can do with HTML. But my recommendation is like most of the time you will see table, you will see headers, and you will see the buttons that are here. Also the submit button, but the checkbox is another one that you will probably use. I didn't use the date too much actually, but who knows if you will be using it. But here is a place in which you can have all the possible tags. Okay. So that was pretty much HTML, like just like explain it, just the simple and basic concept, and also giving you like a list of all the possible tags. I don't know if you have any questions. Don't feel bad about asking. No worries. Just ask if you have any question about this part.
Can you explain one more time what the div is thing?
Yep. So a div, it's pretty much just like saying like it's just a container in simple terms. Let's see. Okay. For example, I'm gonna try with this one. So let me open a new code pen. So actually I can show some things, new pen. Okay, so if I wanna show a div, then I can put inside the div other things. For other things I mean other tags. And I can put, let's say, H1 and say like test. And inside that I can put a paragraph that say like, however, I cannot do this with an image or with a paragraph. Like if you see, like I cannot graph a paragraph and then put like an image inside the paragraph, and then I cannot put like a paragraph inside the paragraph because it will break it. But divs are useful because I can put titles, paragraphs, images, button, radio box, other things in that little container. And then I can put other div with more code and another, and that's how the web page is structured. And also, as you see here, all the content goes inside divs. Like they don't have the image standing by itself. You can do that. It's not good practice.
Kind of a way to group different elements on a web page. Is that right, Gio?
Yeah, that's how it will be. I will just call it like, is the minimum
Programming
unit.
almost like a subroutine or something, right? There's like it does a certain part of the web page.
Yeah, I don't know if it's clear. If it's not, I can continue explaining.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. So like maybe like if it was different sections on a web page, it might be like under opinion, you have like a container div with all the things that like go with that section of the web page, kind of.
Exactly. And
Okay.
then let me, if I put HTML structure, there is some basic structures, for example, okay, layout, elements and techniques. For example, here, this is a good example actually. For example, if you see here, this is how a web page will be structured, right? Kind of like you have the title and then you have some content over here. This is just the sidebar probably. So this one, cities, will be a div, and then this will be another div, and then this sidebar will be also a div, and the footer will be also a div. And usually managing divs is really good, so you can see how your page is going to look like. So my advice will be, before doing a web page or before trying to web programming, try to do the HTML and try to put the layout so you know how your app is going to look like.
Yeah, without the divs, you'd probably have something like you get more in a Word document, right? Where you
Yep.
just kind of have a simple page of text, but the divs allow you to have different sections and parts and elements within it.
Exactly. And just one more thing, like HTML, in HTML, all the divs are vertical. For example, these cities, but then here you see, oh, but we have two divs sharing the same vertical space. But this is possible because of CSS. So we're gonna talk about that in a moment. But if you don't have any CSS, all your divs will be like that. Cities, and then you will have London, and then you will have these things under London, and then you will have the footer. That's why we're gonna learn CSS. Just if you just wonder why two divs were like in the same line.
Thank you. That helps a lot. Thanks.
No worries. If you have more questions while I'm explaining them, I can just open something on the internet. I just can look for more material. So no worries, guys. Questions are open all the time. I think it's better if you ask questions so I know you understand. Okay. So CSS, as I say, it stands for Cascading Style Sheets. So it's also not like JavaScript. So it's way simple than JavaScript because it just adds style to your web page. And just as Dr. Nelson was recommending before, like if we open the same page, you can also look, and also this is actually pretty cool. I'm gonna show you something that, so if you look here in the inspect, you can go to the inspector, right? But that's just the HTML, right? But if you go here, this part, you can see the style. So this part of the browser will show you all the style, and this is CSS. It's pretty much how it looks like with curly brackets. And then you can change the style here if you would like. You uncheck it, and then when you check all the things, you can see how things change a little bit. Yeah, did you see how the thing changed over there? And the border, yeah. So thing change, and then I can do that, and now it's red. If you notice it, how it changed. Wow, now it looks totally different. So that's how. And then if I do that, it also changed more. So it's looking more like raw HTML. And then I just continue growing things. So that's pretty much how the CSS is gonna look in your browser, if you wonder. Okay, now we can go to the module. So as I show, like the CSS syntax, it's pretty much this, like you put the HTML element here, and then you put curly brackets, and then you do like closing curly bracket, and then you put the, there is a lot of properties. I just put some basic ones here, like the color, which is the font color, and then this is the font size, which is 5 EM. There is a lot of things in the size. You can put pixels, px. You can also do percentage, or you can do EM. And the recommended way to do is using EM or percentage, because pixels, it varies from one screen to another. That's why if you put 20 pixels to be something, it can look good in your screen, but then when you go to another screen which has less pixels, it's gonna take more space. But if you use percentage, it's gonna take the percentage of the pixels that are in your screen, and it's gonna look better because it's gonna scale automatically. I don't know if there is any question just up to this point. No? Okay. So now we're gonna start with just a little piece of HTML. Okay, just let me look for the code pen so I can put the code pen for you guys. There we go. So it's gonna be way easier. With that, it should be box mode. Okay. Okay. Just give me a moment, guys. I'm just looking for that code pen. Okay, looks like there is no code pen for that part. Probably add it later, but okay, so I'm just gonna explain it with these simple examples. So we can use in the CS, when you are trying to add the style to an element that you want, then you can put a selector, or we call it CSS selectors. And here, this H1 will be the selector. And this H1 refers to all the H1 elements in your web page. And I can show you an example with that. So if I put that, oh, not that, And you can see that's my H1, right? But they might say, all right, I want to change the style for that. And I say H1, and I say, I want the color of that to be red. And it's going to change it for that. But it's not just for this one. And let me show you why not. Because if I have another H1 here and I put test2, it's also going to be red. And then you're going to say, oh, wait a moment. Why my H1 is not coming normal, right? If I do it again, it's going to be red. And you can see that this is kind of cool, but it's not that cool because it doesn't let me have control of all my, of the color of my headers, right? Because all of them are blue. Maybe I want my test2 to be green and my test3 to be, I don't know, yellow. So for that, we can add something that I didn't show you before on the HTML, but it's called ID and class, which I touch a little bit later on the tutorial, but I think it's good. Maybe just touch it right now. And if I go here, ID is just a property in the HTML tag, as we thought. And if I put ID, I don't know, let's call it rojo. And then I do this because it's an ID. We can see that just the H1, so the header one that has the ID as name rojo, has the color change. And an ID, just to be clear, it's unique. It's like the ID that you have in your driver license. So it's unique to that HTML tag. So two HTML tags shouldn't and cannot have the same ID. And then you can tell me about, oh, but what about if I want to style things, grouping them together? That's why we have the class property. And the class works in the same way. I put class, I'm gonna call these ones friends, because they're gonna be friends grouped together. They're gonna be friends. Nothing is changing because we didn't put anything yet. So the difference in the CSS is that friends, well, class has a point. So when you're gonna look for that, when you're gonna try to reference the class in the CSS, you have to put a point for the class. And when you're gonna try to reference the ID in the CSS, you have to use this one, pound, or numeral, I think it's numeral, but you have to use this sign. Otherwise, if you do that, it will not get it. It will say like, I don't know what's this, but if you do this, you say like ID rojo, and it will get it for you. And for friends, we can do the same. I can say color, and I can say yellow. Oh, no. It looks like there is no.
You gotta say friends with S.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Thank you, Dr. Nelson. There we go. And they go yellow. Sometimes not all the colors are like this. That's why I also I thought it was a question of colors. If you want to change colors, and there is, I prefer to do you look CSS hex colors, and with this, they give you the code, and I prefer actually this way. I think it's way better because CSS don't handle all the possible colors that there is, you know, like if you put, I don't know, violet or like green violet, it will not show you that. And that's why we have these hex colors. And I think we put that. And then it will do that according to the hex color. So that's one way. I prefer that way. I think is the most simple. There is also RGB. If you would like, you can also put that. It will do the same for you. Okay, just in this part about like CSS selectors. I don't know if there is. Do you have any question? So it's clear. Okay, I guess it's clear. I think it was a pretty simple concept. Okay, so pretty much that's what I told here. I just show you like, and also like something that I forgot to explain that it's also here that it will be good for you to know. Let's say I have the paragraphs, right? And then let's say I have this H2, and then let's call it this is Africa, like that. So I call it this is Africa, right? And it's an H2, that's why it's smaller. And I have this P tag, right? And I say like, oh, wait a moment, I want this Africa and the text inside the paragraph tag to be, I don't know, yellow. So, but I don't want to define a class on them because I want to keep them separate. And then say like, all right, I can do P H2 and put color. I put yellow. And it will change both of them. A problem with this approach, well, not a problem, but inconvenience will be that all your paragraphs and all your header twos will be yellow. But it's just to show that you can put more than one part like that. Even you can do this. You can put like that, dot friends. And then you're gonna see, and this is an important concept, and then you're gonna say, oh, wait a moment, but I thought we defined friends to be red. Why friends is changing to yellow? So I'm gonna ask this question. So why do you think it's changing to yellow if you put it red?
Is it because whatever's at the very end, I guess, of your code is what's going to be applied last? So it's like friends is red, but then you're changing it to yellow.
Exactly. So that's something that it's really simple of CSS. So CSS is pretty simple that it will just grab the last thing. So if you define it and style way at the beginning, but you were not careful and you did it again, then you're gonna wonder for maybe an hour and say like, oh, what I'm failing, right? But it's just that you actually like did it twice, and it's always gonna grab the, how can I say, it's gonna always grab the last thing that you did. Any questions about this? Okay, so we should continue. So pretty much this is what I explained to you guys. I think the code pen did a pretty good job. So an ID, also we can use a class, or we use this. Here it was pretty much the same thing, just in big steps, trying to show how you can add things. But here I actually explain it, what the tags mean. And also another thing that you can do, it's like you can actually put like you can actually like call like in the CSS style for the attributes, or also you can, for example, the A tag, which is the hyperlink tag, you can put a link on that tag, and you can actually have a bunch of links, right, in your text or in your HTML. But if you just want to select a specific link, you can put this and it will do it for you. Then there is the hover one. The hover adds the style when you're putting the mouse on it. So we can try the hover. So we can go here, and then let's say that I want to do it when we put on the H here on the H1 that says test. So to do this, I just gonna do what's simple. I'm just gonna grab this and just copy here to have a base. So we put that. We are not trying to change that, but we are trying to change in the row ID, right? And then let's change it to red, the color, when I am hovering. I think this should be the trick. Oh, do you see? It's actually pretty cool. So that's how the hover works. Okay, so if we continue, and this is more things. So these are more advanced, like as we did with the hover. So this is another one for the first line, and this is other one, like how combinators are actually like how we like, because we have nested HTML, right? We can have a div that has an ID called, I don't know, my ID, and inside that div we can have paragraphs, and then we can have like titles, and then we can have images, and the combinators with this pretty much help us to see like, okay, this is my div, okay, and now look inside of that and look for the paragraph. So it pretty much like that. Okay, any question so far? Okay, then I will continue. So the CSS box pretty much is how the style of CSS, no, how the structure of the CSS works. So when you style things, you have to think about each HTML element that has content, has padding, and has border and margin. For that, I prepare two, well, I didn't prepare, I just borrowed these two box models that I think are gonna be useful to understand what I'm gonna try to say. So this is the first one. So this is how the box model works. So if you can see here, is my text, and then I have the padding and the margins on it. Also, I think actually something really cool is here. I think when you open your browser and you open that, there is a way in which you can put it here to see it. Yes, give me a moment, I will find it. No, that's in Google Chrome. That's not Mozilla Firefox. But let me close this, and I'm gonna put this one. I think this one. Okay. Okay, so you can see here, this one is more complete. So this is the content, and this one is the padding, and this one is the border, and this one is the margins. So you can see that if you change with the CSS, if you change the width, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna play in the code pen in a moment as well with a div that we're gonna create together. But I just wanna show you like how this structure change when you change the width and the height. And then if you change the padding, it's gonna also change this part. And also if you change the padding at the top, you can change. The margins are the ones that are the author space, which is like that. And the margin to the left. I personally didn't use a lot of borders, but you can also change it as you see here. Okay, now let's play with it as. So let's say this is our div, right? I guess I'm gonna change this because it's really bad for the eyes. Okay, so we have this right now. This is our div. So let's put
Hey, Gio. Looks like
I have that problem this morning with Dr. Jones, but it because the battery. of the computer. So
He's probably coming back now. I see he's off, so
yeah,
give him a minute. And
I didn't realize that I have just 1%, and then suddenly computers switch off.
He said his computer turned off. Sorry.
is he going to try to rejoin?
Yes.
Okay. While we're waiting for him to get back on, I'm just curious, are you understanding the HTML, the CSS, and how that works? Are there questions about that?
Okay, I came back.
There you are. You're back.
Sorry guys, because back on the day, well, a couple of months ago, I changed my laptop to be just to run Linux, and I did it by myself. And I think I didn't do it quite well, so that's why sometimes my laptop just shut down without telling me. Okay, so
Hey, Gio,
yep,
so try to wrap up in 10 minutes. You
Yep.
can kind of show them through the rest of it, what they can do. But
yep, I can do that, Dr. Nelson. I'm
Okay.
just okay. So the good thing I think is that we cover, I think, the basic of the CSS and also of the HTML. So that's the basic concept. But here I also put something that I think will be really helpful for you guys if you're gonna do some web programming. And I think I put it here in a code pen. So let me show you this code pen, which I think is good. So sometimes you actually need to play with the style. I remember I told you that this is how you do some layout of a basic web page. You need to put the two divs together, right? And I think something good is called Flexbox, which actually allows you to do that. As you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3. But if I will not put that, if I will not put flex, then you can see that it's gonna be like that. But then I changed the display to flex, and it allows you to do that. 1, 2, 3. And there is also other ways to tell, like 2 goes first, and then 3 goes, and then so on. Like then you can change the order. But Flexbox, I explained here, is actually a really nice and really easy tool in which you can put containers right next to it or right below. Just you have to decide the orientation, if it's vertical or horizontally. There is an alternative called the grid layout, which I don't like, but it's not bad. It works with, you divide everything on a grid, as you can see here. I divide everything into a grid, and then you decide how many columns and how many rows you're gonna have, and that's how you have your web page. So as we can see here, you can use Flexbox and put these two divs you can put inside that one div and just call flex and have this. Or you can use the grid and have a div and do 2 columns. So it depends what you want to do, if you want to choose Flexbox or grid, but that's the 2 approaches to style and to put the layout of the web page. You can use both of them. So I just put the two options for you. And then, I think I have, yeah, there we go. And then you can put, no. Okay, and then this code pen is also another, it's also really simple. With float, you can make one element as is here to float to the left. If I change this and say like float to the right, it will go to the right. Do you see? So, but it's the same concept. It's always standing in the same basic concept that I told you. Is like if you see here the selector is box, there is a point, so it means it's a class. As you hear, this is the div float. So that's what is referring the CSS to this part, to the class box. So that's something that you can do as well. You can float anything. You can float your paragraphs, you can float your titles. So that's just a nice feature that it has. And then, then we have the positioning. So positioning is actually also really, really necessary. Like when you work with maps or when you put a map, position is going to help a lot to use that. Here we can see this is the normal positioning, as you can see here. Then that's relative positioning. As you can see, the red one, which is in the relative positioning, it's just floating, like it doesn't have something solid. So all the other one, it's always gonna be on top of the other one. That's why it looks in that way. Absolute positioning means that doesn't matter where you put the thing that has been referenced as absolute positioning is always gonna be on top of that. It's similar to the fixed positioning. And usually when you work with maps, you want these two positioning. This is the sticky positioning, just something between two things. You can play with this code pen, like most of the code pens that I did, you can play with them, change things, and play with that. And then, yeah, I just go through them, like I explain just a little bit, but that's the code pen that has all of them. Here's like what I put as a table, which is just an example of how you can do a table in HTML and how you can color it. And then just to wrap up, I think a good practice will be to do this for you. I think I prepared this exercise just thinking about you guys. So pretty simple. And also I post the answers in the Word document. So pretty much the exercise, it's about like you want to do a web page for a restaurant. The restaurant is called Alcazar. And then there is like different things. And I just put all the text that you need here. So these are some of the things that they serve: tortillas, albóndigas, patatas, and also like you can add more things to it. And I put the instructions here, guys, so you can actually do like, so number one, you have to do the headings, which is the H tags, which I put here, and then you can do the images as well. I also give you like from where you can take out the image. So this, I think, will be nice for you guys in order to get the HTML and at least the HTML portion. And after that, you should have something like this. That's what I got. And here I pretty much walk you through it. So I tell you like, this is how you have to put the titles. This is how you have to put the images. And then I have these code pens that are intermediate steps. So this code pen has everything up to that point, up to the point of putting the image. So it's pretty much a walk through exercise.
They should try to do it on their own first, and then if they struggle, they can go to your code pen, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you feel like that, then you have to go to this one. And if you have like questions about the first part, then just look to this one, because this one is also for the second part. So just try to do the first part then by yourself, and then try the first one. Then try to do the second part by yourself, and then do this if you couldn't do it, right? You should be able to do it. It's not that hard. It's pretty simple, this one. And also like for also like put the CSS hands on, which is adding a style to that. And I just put the final code pen for it because it was actually just not that hard to do the CSS part. And then you can see how this is gonna look like at the end. So it has it's gonna look like that. So I just pretty much, here we do Flexbox, as you can see. Here we center the things with float, and I put the instructions, but this is just the answer. But I gave you the code pen for that one when you start. Yeah, which is that one. So this is the end of the HTML, but it's also the start of the CSS after this. And then I put instructions on the CSS part. So I hope that will be helpful. I hope you can work on it. Sorry that we didn't have more time to cover, but at least I hope you understand the basic of CSS and HTML. I'm sorry about that, the computer turned off.
That was excellent, Gio. Let me share my screen, and I maybe want you to explain a couple of things before we finish.
Okay.
So, I mean, where we're headed with this and why this is important is this is the Tethys portal. And I'm actually going to go to this one because Gio has an app there called Crazy Search. Where is it, Gio? Oh, there it is. Okay, so when we use Tethys, we're going to create applications, but you know, and a lot of the code, the kinds of things that get generated happen automatically. So somebody's already come and created this basic Tethys portal. If we do view, developer, inspect elements, okay, you'll see these kinds of things over here that Gio has been talking about in terms of how the Tethys portal got put together. And it's not that you have to recreate this portal, but it's good if you kind of have a basic working knowledge, understanding of what's going on underneath, because while a lot of this has been put together to make it easier for you, if you want to customize or add things to it at some point, then you know, it's good that you have at least a basic background of the HTML, the CSS, so that you can begin to understand how a Tethys portal is put together. And then, but probably more important is even the applications, right? So if we come in to an application, okay, this is one that Gio has created that organizes data in South America. Well, anywhere it could be, but the data is here in South America. And so you can see these different sections that he's made up, right? And you can understand that in order to actually get in and customize an application, you might need to do something with the styling or create, you know, the spacing and how things are organized on the web page, because we want to be able to take our results and to be able to do interesting things with them, like plot them, right? And so in the background, what we're doing is we're working with a bunch of data. We may be doing a model, doing some analysis with it. In the end, though, we want to format and prepare that so that it makes a nice web page with plots, other elements, information, instructions about it. So I just wanted to kind of finish with that, just so you can see why what you're learning here is important. You know, these are the background elements so that you can get in and do things with Tethys. Not that you'll have to design. A lot of these things are done for you, the basic elements, and are put together. But if you're going to extend them, you're going to need to know a little bit about it. So that's kind of gives you just a little bit of an overview of where, why this is important and how it fits into the bigger picture. Any comments, Gio, about that?
No, I think it's really good to know the basics, at least in the CSS and the HTML, because is pretty much how your app is gonna look like. For the good thing in Tetis for you guys is like the structure of the app has already predefined with a default style, which as you can see there, you have the title on top. Then I don't know if Dr. Enzo can do a click on the hamburger icon that it's right next to the crazy search bar. No, to the, yeah, that one. So that's pretty much how is the default style of all the Tetis app. You have a bar in the left side that you can put things on it, and then you have a bigger portion on the right side in which you can put a map, or you can put that in half as I did. I put the map and I also put like graphs. So that's usually how Tetis is designed, but you can also change that if you would like another style. But in general, if you're not using Tetis, if you want to do an app or a web page, you have to decide the layout, the HTML and CSS. Yep, that's all, doctors.
Okay. Any questions for Gio? Any comments out there? All right. Well, thanks, Gio. I really appreciate you putting that together. I know this kind of information that we've not had this before for our students, so they kind of just got dug into Tethys and had to learn and figure those things out on their own or from other classes. So I hope this will be helpful for you as you go through it and do some of these exercises. You don't have to become experts at it right now. We just intend that you get a good background. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Gio.
No worries. Thank you, guys.
On Thursday, Gio, we'll be adding to this some JavaScript, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna do JavaScript.
So now you can do some programming instead of just the layout and the styles, right? We'll kind of add in some programming to it.
Yep.
All right. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
Thank you.
Alma, Annalise, are we going to meet with Olivia? Should I send a meeting out just to connect us for a few minutes, or were you two just going to meet with her?
Yeah, we were going to meet with her. You're welcome to join if you want.
I'll let you do it and just report back to me what you
Okay.
find out about being able to do that. That sounds great.
Yeah, I'll let you know.